What is happening, people? It is Brian Alsruhe with NEVERsate.com, and welcome to this week's training video where we're going to be going over the overhead press. Now, I have been fortunate enough to have some recent success with my lifting, but typically when I share with you guys a lifting video, I like to go for something pretty heavy because it seems like most of you would rather watch me hit something heavy than not. But what today's video is going to be about is more of me just hitting a regular working overhead press day that looks like the majority of my overhead press days, where there's not a super high or a super low, but during it I want to talk to you guys about stuff that I'm focusing on, stuff that I've forgotten, stuff that I'm trying to work on, and all of that sort of thing. But of course, since it is a training video, that means that there will be a question of the day. And today's question, if you do choose to participate in the discussion down below, is going to be out of the big four lifts: the squat, the bench, the deadlift, and the overhead press. Which one do you find the most technically difficult to kind of wrap your head around? Which one do you struggle the most with? And then second part of the question is, out of those big four, which one do you look most forward to that day? Do you look most forward to deadlifts, even though it is your most technically difficult? Or do you look forward to bench because it comes so easy to you? Or do you like squats because they are what you are best at? So I want to know down below, out of the squat, the bench, the deadlift, and the overhead press, what you look forward to the most and which you find the most technically difficult. Guys, I really do appreciate that participation, and it does help me kind of focus where future videos are going to go. So for right now, I'm gonna cut some of my warm-up stuff as well as my early rounds, because I have some news that I wanna catch you guys up on. The first of which is the brain scan that I mentioned in the last video that could potentially help with my throwing up problem, as well as some of my other mental stuff that is going on. Now, if you guys did not know, I do have a brain tumor, and that has nothing to do with this, but I've had countless MRIs and CT scans, and this is a different type of thing that is only offered by the Amen clinics. If you are involved in any sort of mental health, and you probably heard of Dr. Amen because he works with a lot of high-profile people like celebrities, athletes, people who've had some serious mental issues or some serious head trauma. Anyway, this scan is completely different than any of the others, because the idea behind it is that if I hurt my shoulder, then there's no way that a doctor is going to give me a huge surgery or a huge therapy treatment or whatever the case may be without getting a little bit more information through an x-ray or an MRI. But unfortunately, in the mental health world, you get quick diagnoses, and then people end up getting stuck on medication that can sometimes make them much worse. Sometimes it makes them better, but it's kind of like a trial and error oftentimes. And what these scans do is show different damage, different things that may be underdeveloped or overactive, and then you can get prescribed medication more appropriately in hopes that I can start to live a normal life again. But I will not actually receive those results until next week, and once I do, like I said, I'm gonna do an entire video about just that. The second piece of news is that the $25 Strongman Powerbuilder Program that I promised was gonna be out in early June will hopefully, if everything goes as planned, come out next week. Now, if you guys remember, this time last year, I took like 3 months off making videos entirely because I moved to this new property, which is entirely wilderness, and the upkeep has been a lot more than I expected it to be. If I can put it into something that a lot of people can relate to, imagine that you had a really huge lawn and you started mowing it, and your lawn is so big that by the time you got to the end of mowing your lawn, the beginning needed to be mowed again, so you need to just drive right back around on your tractor and start all back over. And that's kind of how this is for a couple months, because the wilderness is just kind of trying to take over, whether it be trying to overgrow trails, or trees falling across my driveway, or trees falling almost on my house, or the river rising and bringing in all kinds of trash and washed up material and washed up log jams that need to be cleared and all types of stuff like that. It's just so much more than I ever expected to be. So to be honest with you guys, the ebook kind of has gotten pushed a little bit, but my plan is to kind of neglect some of that other stuff for a little bit, really nail down and just get that ebook out to you guys next week, hopefully. Also, I am really hoping that right now I have some more stuff to say about training, because I don't have anything else to catch you guys up on. All right, guys, so I'm out of breath because I just finished this up, but what you're looking at is 10 sets of 3 at the top every minute for 10 minutes. Now, in full disclosure, guys, I actually ended up going over 2 minutes because it was too much between getting the chain linked up on me as well as trying to get different camera angles. So it actually ended up being 12 minutes, but I only got 10 sets done. Basically, I would do 3 weighted pull-ups at 100 pounds, and then I would do 3 strict overhead presses beltless. This axle is less then 45 pounds. So this is probably around like 220-ish, right around body weight is what I'm trying to stick for my every minute on the minute kind of stuff. Now, as far as the overhead press goes, I've been struggling with heavier things over top of my head, and I figured out a couple reasons why. Number one is because I am not fully engaging my butt. When I step out to take the weight out, if I only half engage my butt, like I tell you guys, flex your butt all the time, and I'm not talking about gently. I'm talking about full blown, everything you have, flexing your butt like it's Valentine's Day on your first night in prison. Too far? You have to think your body like a stick, and the weakest part of a stick, if it's going to break, is going to be dead center, especially if you put a bunch of weight on top like you are in an overhead press. So your butt needs to be fully engaged and flexed so that your posterior chain can be completely linked up so you can actually support this weight. Otherwise, it's gonna feel about twice as heavy as it actually should. Now, the second thing that I'm working hard on that doesn't have any prison references is being aggressive coming out of the rack. And what I mean by that is I can't limp the bar out of the rack. I can't step out, take a couple breaths, get my body all tight, and then start pressing. I personally, and you probably most likely cannot either, get as much air into your torso and into your belly without load as you can when you have something in the front rack position. So for me personally, what I do is I squeeze the heck out of the bar, I get as much air into my belly, in my obliques, into my lower back, that full 360 awareness, belly full of air, and then I unrack the bar while holding my breath, and I do not let that breath out for the most part until those 3 reps are done. If I do need to let my air out, I let it out at lockout, get my breath, hold it, and then come back and hit my extra reps. Because I tell you what, when you're in the front rack position, every breath that you take is breaking you down, especially if you didn't do number 1, which is having your butt super flex tight. And then third thing that I figured out that I wasn't doing, why the weights felt so heavy, was because I was not actually aiming for a point above my head. I would start pressing the bar and just hope that it goes where I want it to be. However, for me personally, I need to shoot for a point that is like in line with a plane with the back of my head. So when I start driving, I need to be thinking, push that bar to the back of your head. Do not just push it above your head. Otherwise, it tends to drift out forward for me. And if the bar goes out forward, it is out away from the middle of my foot, which makes it twice as heavy. And that's not successful for anyone lifting anything heavy. So if you guys are having trouble with your overhead press, remember, flex your butt hard, not half flex your butt when you're in between reps or when you walk that bar out. It needs to be flexed super, super hard. Number 2, get all of your air, breathe, brace, squeeze the heck out of that bar before you unrack it. Hold that air, get aggressive with your walkout, step, and shoot it up. Just go with absolutely everything you have all at once. And then number 3, make sure that you are shooting for a point towards the back of your head. Have a target to aim for, otherwise you're gonna miss everything. I'm sorry, that all came out really, really fast. This is much like what it's like being coached by me in real life. Now, assistance ended up being 4 rounds, and of course it was in giant set format. So I started out with 15 wider grip pull-ups because I am still kind of rehabbing my lat a little bit. I'm really not feeling it much. I did not feel on the deadlift that you guys watched earlier in the video. So that's really, really good news, but I want to keep it progressing in a good direction. Now, after that came 30 dips. The dips are there for, of course, tricep strength and to kind of pre-exhaust my shoulders, because after that comes these chain presses. Now, I was doing 25 each set because the chain themselves are only about 50 pounds each. Now, the chains almost leave the ground. They kind of just about dangle there. So I am getting 50 pounds only at the very, very top, because it's kind of like an accommodating resistance type of situation, because as I press, more chain comes off the ground and it gets heavier and heavier. Doesn't seem like a big deal when it's the low reps, but as it gets higher and the burn sets in, that lockout becomes very, very tough. And then after that, I finished with sets of 30 on the face pull. So 4 rounds of that, and all of my assistance was done. I forgot how hard it is to talk to you guys while actually doing this stuff. And then finally, for the assistance finisher, it was at the top of every minute, for 10 minutes, I was doing 5 burpees, followed by a 50-foot yoke waiter's walk. Just try to finish off my shoulders and just get used to finding a better balance point up top. Like I mentioned earlier, having a target to aim for, this will do a lot to show you exactly where that balance point, where you can support the most weight, so you do have an actual target to aim for. So yeah, guys, that is what an average training day looks like for me. The entire thing really only takes me about 35 minutes to an hour, depending. Like today, it only took me 45 minutes, and that is with recording, because I like to get in, work really hard, kind of move non-stop. I try to move something heavy during the workout. I try to get some sort of athletic movement, whether it be burpees or a carry or jumping or something like that. I try to get some higher rep stuff in, some body weight. I try to do it all in one session and try to get it done in as short of amount of time as I possibly can. So guys, I hope that you guys were able to draw a little bit something from that little part in the middle where I kind of shared some things that I was working on, because maybe it will help with you guys with some things that you were working on. And I just thank you guys for absolutely everything. Like I said, I will be trying to get that Strongman Powerbuilder Program out to you guys next week, as well as another video. Hopefully I will get the results from my brain scan and I'll be able to share that video either next week or a little bit after that. But time will tell. All right, so I thank you guys absolutely so much for everything you guys do, all the ways you guys support me. If you guys need a program, you can either contact me at NEVERsate.com for a personalized one, or if you're looking for a $25 cookie cutter program, now there are so many different options of those. If you guys want one, you can feel free to go to NEVERsate.com, pick one of those up. I do thank you guys so much for absolutely everything. Oh, one thing I did need to mention. These shirts, we are out of a lot of the shirts because of COVID. There's been a shortage on the actual t-shirt, not like the brand or anything. So a lot of that is sold out. So if you do want one, you need to get one now, because we're not replenishing them. But tank tops are coming in with the same type of barcraft, barbells and bushcraft style. So if you guys are interested in that, tank tops will be coming out very, very soon. T-shirts are going away because we can't replenish them. So if you guys do want one, make sure you head either to NEVERsateGear.com or thelowellbrand.com if you want to pick one up. But I do thank you guys so much. I will catch you guys later in the week. Until I do go out to something amazing, realize, keep working hard, people. Be nice to each other, please. I'll see you then.